Diana Gaddis, realtor, community market leader, digital marketing specialist, savvy Florida agent here in Fort Myers, Florida. And you know what? I am so happy and grateful to be here with each one of you live. I started on my neighborhood walk, and actually, I was taking all of you on a neighborhood walk with me and got stuck in a downpour. So, taking a little alcove, a little seat here, and decided to go live a little bit more quickly. So, as we move forward, I'm sharing many, many insights that I've had in, that I have with regards to real estate and the real estate market in this area. And the real estate market in this area, it is quite fascinating. You know, and I've listened to other experts throughout the country and throughout the U.S., as well as I have read comments, and now I'm getting more into the international markets as well, and in touch with other realtors across this world, in Australia and different European countries, and they're all kind of saying the same thing about real estate. It's a lot of it is overpriced, and it's heading in a direction because the state of the economies in each of these countries. And it's the macro economies, not the micro economies, because we know that in our own world and in our own micro economy, we can surpass what's going on in policy and macroeconomy and macroeconomics around us. And so, based on that, it's interesting because um, I listen to many different perspectives and many different viewpoints. And uh, my journey in life, too, and experiences have been pretty tremendous. So, that's why I started doing this YouTube channel. That's why I wrote I've written several books, but two of them are published. The other ones are being published. One should be coming out again in this next week. Uh, God Wants Me to Be Rich. And what I am sharing is I'm sharing my insights, my journey, and what has kept me strong and moving forward and increasing and changing my whole mindset to have changes in my own life. And this would be our microeconomy. And I'm very graciously grateful for that. And that's what I am sharing. I'm sharing with each one of you. And so, in the real estate market here in Southwest Florida, specifically the Fort Myers area, I mean, there's many houses on the market. There has been many houses on the market for the last 2 years. There are, as people tried to sell their homes, some of them expired, and they just chose not to relist them because they couldn't make any plans to move forward, and the mortgage interest rates rose. So having a plan to go elsewhere also became a little bit more difficult. And it's interesting because I hear real estate again on YouTube. We have access to so much information that some real estate agents are marketing. Well, mortgage interest rates are coming down. It came down from 6.49% to 6.47%. While I appreciate that 0.02 percentage that the mortgage interest rates came down, but to me that's not very significant. Not significant at all in order to change the buying opportunities of consumers and home buyers. Mortgage interest rates at this level, uh, it affects how much house we can buy. And that right now in our market and our market economy and real estate, it is showing and is showing up. It is showing up by people that have their houses currently on the market. They are cutting the prices. The ones that really need to get out of the properties are slashing their prices. And so, I mean, by $10,000, $15,000, I see new construction homes in which uh, all inclusive, these new construction homes in these bigger builder communities that are not just isolated to Florida, but maybe have communities nationwide in which they are building. So it's a franchise or a conglomerate of builders under specific names, and they also have their own extension of mortgage loans. And the deals that they are offering to home buyers is pretty tremendous. One of them was buy this new construction home. We've not only reduced the price, but we are giving you $15,000 towards closing costs and down payment. As well as offering incentives to the buyer's agent or paying the buyer's commission. So that's a tremendous amount of money to make a sale. So that has some implications and indications as to what really is going on in this real estate market now. And again, that's based on individual situations. Because there are some home builders that aren't coming down on the price very much, that don't offer extension of mortgages or have their own mortgage company, and they're staying steady at their prices at their selling points. And that's a lot in the luxury market in this area is staying kind of constant at their price points. And because luxury market and luxury homes are usually on the market longer than your average individual that is buying or selling a home. Now, one of the things too in the Southwest Florida in this area is we see a lot of property investments, and it's quite fascinating to watch that unfold as well, because flippers, home buyers that are flipping, I mean, they are selling at a reduced rate than what they would have in previous years. So, and I look at when I look at homes, I look at and their price points. I look at the relevant location of the home, but also the price point of per square foot. And by looking at it from that perspective, from a per square foot perspective, it tells me a lot. It gives me a lot of information, also based on the area. And that it's important. I watch a lot of real estate agents come in from all over Florida, and they don't know the niches of the different communities. However, when you're an investment buyer, you're looking for the bottom line. And so the perspective of what you're buying is a little bit different. However, in that, if you are an investment buyer, don't you want to buy resort properties or investment properties that are going to turn a profit for you? I mean, I would think so. So it might behoove somebody that is purchasing investment properties to hire somebody local, because that gives more insight as to the areas in which people want to stay for short term rentals in resort or season living. So in real estate, I have to tell you that real estate is, I'm embracing that. I'm embracing the real estate market. And I'm embracing being a realtor. It is quite fascinating. It's quite a different life and quite a different lifestyle, uh, uh, as opposed to the one that has the regular paycheck. Now, I come from the background of education. I'm a highly educated individual. I have a bachelor's of science in business, bachelor of business science, and I have a master's of education in school counseling, and I have a master's of education in educational leadership. So I actually have two masters of education. So I thought, boy, that was it. Well, guess what? Lifelong learning comes in, and we have to diversify. Not only diversify what we're doing in gaining revenue, but also diversify in our knowledge base and what we are in our expertise. So I'm an expert in people. I'm an expert in education. I'm an expert in human development, and I'm an expert in many capacities because I have a lot of skills and talents based on the experience and the journeys that I've had through life. And real estate was my new avenue. So with my mentor and the group of individuals that I've been involved with at EXP Realty, it is quite a journey and quite an eye-opening experience of what a real estate agent does, how they get paid, how their livelihood is impacted, and the hours that they keep. And these people, the ones that are successful, they work very, very hard. So I still choose to be in education now, and uh, as I learn more about the real estate business, and I choose to stay in school counseling because I enjoy it. I found that education is my ministry. It has always been my ministry. So as I partner with individuals in the real estate sector and clients in the real estate sector, I am really partnering in a place of relationship, and based on just the fact that there's a good connection with the individuals that I work with, and the knowledge base that I bring to the table. So that being said, uh, I birthed and raised six children, so I spend most of my life, the majority of my life, with children, and it's that too has been fascinating. Raising children for a lifetime is quite intriguing, and each one of them is very different. They are all adults now, and I'm very graciously grateful for that. Uh, that was a lot of work. I really took my job seriously as a parent. I think that's why I got into purposeful education and got into education is because of that ministry and having children. And I really enjoyed being around my children. And I was always one, I had to work. If I didn't work, it like identified part of my personality or part of who I was. If I didn't work, then I lost sight of who I was. It was very difficult for me to just identify as being a mother, um, because that encompassed so much. And yet, because of the generation and the culture that that my life embodied in Eastern European culture, there were specific roles, gender roles, and I didn't like that so much. I'm a businesswoman. I like to do things, and I like to produce, and I like to make things happen, and I like to earn lots of money. So that that is what I continue to do. I love my children, and uh, through raising them, I have also through my education, I have I've written books throughout the years, but never published them. So now I started publishing them. And one of the books that I published is Parenting with Purpose, and that's character development with faith with biblical principles. And I tell you, I have a couple videos already talking about that and talking about my kids in that capacity, and what I incorporated in my life to instill character and values in my children. You know, and I go back to this. People in the world say that we don't have an instruction manual for our children. Well, yes, we do. We do have an instruction manual. It's just a matter of whether you're going to read that instruction manual and apply what it says or not. And I give you an example. Okay, so every child is a masterpiece, uniquely crafted by the hand of God. And in Psalm 139, verse 13 through 14, uh, for you created my inmost being, you knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. And you know what? And understanding that and celebrating that in the individuality of each child as you're raising them is extremely important, because there's not a one size fits all. I mean, everybody's skills and talents are different, and that includes all the children within the context of the household. All their skills and talents are different, and that's what makes them each unique. And they all each uniquely respond to your authority and your parenthood differently. So, that being said, you have to be aware of each child's distinct personality, their learning style, their emotional makeup, and their passions and their skill sets, and what seems to be what they can evolve into, what they can pursue, and supporting that in each individual child in raising them is extremely important. And I love to use the example of my older son. Um, you know, I always paid attention to. I have emotionally sensitive children. Not all of them, but a couple of the older ones are very emotionally sensitive, and they were affected emotionally by outside sources, how people responded to them, different music, television, movies, and the dawn of the video games. And my oldest son, God bless him, what a wonderful child. In his adulthood, he is embraced educating himself and really strives to attain uh, his he's getting his master's of education, or not master's, but he's getting his master's degree in computer science, and that's self-taught. He does all this stuff online, Uh, but one of the things that I fought in middle school and in high school was video games and those video game ratings. And so many kids nowadays and today play Call of Duty. I mean, I know elementary students that were playing Call of Duty. Well, if you look at the rating on the back of that video game, it's for a mature audience. In the context of what's in that game is for mature audiences. And just the sheer fact of the violence in there, the graphics, and if you think that doesn't have an impact on students or children, uh, it does. It does. So again, some children are more sensitive than others, and so with that particular game, it was to me it was quite fascinating because again I paid attention to the maturity rating on the back. So my son was one, his junior high friends, 13 and 14, they all had the Call of Duty game, and my son did not. They wouldn't allow it. I couldn't, because of the way that he was affected, and healthy, you know. So because of that, I had to I put into place, that maturity rating. And finally, I gave him when he was 15. Okay, because I mean, by that time he was a freshman in high school, and I thought, okay, well, geez, I mean, his friends have been playing for a couple of years. Didn't like that I gave into that. However, it was a truth in this society. I did it anyway. But again, I had to pay attention to how he was affected by it. He's highly sensitive, highly emotional individual, and that game in particular affected him in a manner that really wasn't healthy. And you know what? In his young adulthood, he stopped playing that game. That was one of the games that he stopped playing. He still plays video games, and like I said, he is. I mean, he's a computer guru, yeah, and very much into technology and into cybersecurity and things of that nature. And what's really quite fascinating is I did that video game battle all those years, and really, that was something that if well, and tried to guide it correctly, um, and I think I did because you know what, even now he puts a limit as to how much he's playing it so that he can go back and focus on his studies and on his life and what he wants to accomplish. So I guess I did put those boundaries into place with regards to the gaming, and that gaming also supported what his profession is. So one of the things is that each, again, 6 children, each one of them are very, very different. And in Proverbs 22:6, it says, "Start children off on the way that they should go, and even when they are old, they will not turn from it." So, bringing that value to the forefront and instilling the importance of educating oneself, which means into drawing boundaries around healthy living and what is of value to you to build you up as an individual. I think I really worked hard and purposefully and intentionally to instill those kinds of things into my children, and it's very evident. I mean, they're all doing very well, and I'm very proud of each one of them. You know, the other thing that is quite fascinating is how each one their love language. You know, I have one that likes presents, and they like things. Um, so that is their love language, receiving gifts. I have another one that affirmations. Affirmations is important, and that is their love language. So encouragement and affirmations is something that I had to be intentional about. And another one was physical touch or physical interaction, and so paying attention to the 5 love languages and how your child not only perceives and receives love, but how they also give it. It's extremely important because that too supports them as individuals and uh, how they grow in their self-esteem. Education. That's a that's a another topic because you know what? Again, each one grew in a different capacity, and some are academic, some are not. Some are hard workers, and that hard work also and that work ethic makes up for the academics. And what I mean by academics is the intelligence level. I mean, some individuals can strive in the academic environment and in the teaching and learning process of a regular academic institution, whereas others are more hands-on or require activity or their bodies to be involved in learning, and that is not conducive to the educational institutions because sitting there in a classroom, interacting in a sitting and standing and kind of lecturing capacity is difficult for some individuals, and it just doesn't work. So that too is something that I had to pay attention to because and what their skills, gifts, and talents were. Because the ones that were academic and their skills, gifts, and talents um, in moving towards college was very different from the individuals and the ones um, that weren't going to go to college, that don't go to college, and that didn't go to college. So that was very interesting in and of itself too. And so finding that happy medium and that balance, because you can't. I had to be very careful of how I acted and interacted about academics with the children that was not their gifting. And I had to foster other areas of growth and development that was their gifting to support them to find themselves and build their self-esteem and find how they learn and what they can learn and different avenues of career development from that. It's quite different and quite challenging, And I'll give you one example. This is pretty interesting to me because some kids are very athletic, but they're not academic. And in our culture, in this culture, when somebody has uh, uh, incredible athletics or physical capabilities, the avenue to pursue in this country is university. Well, what if somebody can't make it in a university? What if that is not how they can do things? Even with support systems, that's not going to work for them. Well, there are other avenues of learning. However, because the academic struggle in the classroom, does one punish the physical activity and take that away from the child? I didn't. I didn't because there was no whatever this child, and it's more than one, this child was never going to perform at this kind of an academic level as some of the other ones, regardless of what the expectations were. Whatever my expectations were, it was just not going to happen. So being punishing in that kind of a manner by taking something away that they excel in wasn't going to change the behavior. And that was important to recognize. Um, that's all. The other thing that I had to really work on with my children as a family as a whole was to incorporate prayer. And we prayed in the morning before school, we prayed in the evening before bed. And, the ones that were involved in sports, we prayed before every game. We prayed for the other team, we prayed for the referees or umpires or whatever the individuals were that officiated the game or officiated the sports activity. And in doing that, helping to lay a foundation of spirituality for my children. With that, the kinds of things that we would pray for is, protection and safety and good sportsmanship and how to get along with others and different capacities of excelling in their gifts and talents and how each of the teams interact with one another, as well as the coaches and the officiators and the parents. So all of those things were extremely important and helped to lay a foundation of character and treating people kindly, initiating some self-control, and monitoring one's behavior. And so we did things like that to incorporate that foundation of God, godly principles, biblical principles, value development, and belief development within the context of daily living. I've also, through my modeling and career development and what I've pursued through the years, that too is spoken to my children, my adult children. See, because it teaches them, regardless of what goes on around you, you still have to keep going and being a productive member of society, and you still have to put a roof over your head and pay your living expenses. So you need to learn how to deal with yourself, deal with your emotions, and how to find a healthy way and a healthy outlet in self-reflection and how we deal with one another and how we deal with each other in work situations. I've always taught and stretched my children to have an abundant mindset. Um, One of them doesn't, but the others all do. Everybody has an abundant mindset, and that's extremely important as well because that shows that um, God blesses the work of our hands and He prospers us, and God wants us to be rich. And with that, there is a responsibility on our part, and that is to develop our skills, talents, and utilize those aspects to serve others and fix problems and find avenues of resources, and God blesses all of that. So again, Diana Gaddis, realtor, community market leader, digital marketing specialist, author, educator, counselor, leader. Okay, I have a website coming up, and I'm going to be putting all these links into this YouTube descriptions uh, to where you can order my books, and I have other digital products and marketing materials bringing to the forefront to utilize for individuals to utilize in their business, as well as some ebooks and manuals on how to pursue uh, different avenues of business for revenue streams. Also, career assessment and learning styles, and why that is important. You know, you must know yourself in order to help yourself. You also self reflect in order to change and grow. Take care of your health, take care of your body, manage your time. It's not being selfish, it's being self care. Self care. It's extremely important. And through self care, you are rejuvenated and able to pursue more of your dreams and goals and aspirations. Hit the like and subscribe button. Diana Gaddis, savvy Florida agent, author, leader, educator, realtor. Here serving you, serving the community, and sharing my stories so that you can prosper. Be safe, be blessed. Tell your friends, like, subscribe, share. From Florida, Fort Myers Beach.